Welcome, Meteor fans. I am today's host, Josh Owens. So we have Diego Concha with us. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So this is part of the Apprentice series. I'm hoping this one's maybe a little more successful than the first two I did. We definitely hit significant snags, and I feel like I don't know that might have been boring. Um, But we've got some tightly scoped stuff that we're gonna do, so hopefully we'll get some things accomplished in this session. This one in particular is for the Meteor podcast website. So we're gonna be working on. We've got a static design, and we're gonna just start chopping it up a little bit and getting it working with actual data in the database. So should be interesting here. All right, let me share my screen and we'll get going. And if you're not familiar, like this series is really just about um, number one, I really enjoy pair programming. I think it's a great way to learn, and so I think better code comes out of it as well. Having another pair of eyes kind of on the code that you're writing is always helpful. And then really just Diego asking questions and hopefully learning and forcing me to think about the code is going to make for better code in the long run as well. So a little bit of learning about Meteor, a little bit of learning about how pairing works and that kind of thing. So
Cool.
get on with it. Share my screen. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, this is what the new website will look like. We're gonna have a nice this is the most current episode right here, and the play bar is gonna be scoped to the current episode, and then it'll have links to the various places where you can get it. And then at some point, I plan to maybe hire a transcription service, so you'll be able to click here and see the full transcript. And that may change. We may tweak that a little bit because I think there's a view. Oh, look at that. It's already working. So when you click on each episode, it's changing up top. Um, my biggest thing, like the transcriptions, I think they're nice for people to read, but it's also good for Google to kind of consume a lot of that. Let's see, we've got the hosts, newer, older. Yeah, all right. So I think for me, this is going to be similar to building a kind of a blog platform. Um, so let's pull this code down. See what the developer has for us to start with, or the designer. Here 1.0. Let's get into Tmux, and then I can font bump this for you. Is that readable for you, or does it need to be a little bigger?
Can you make it just a tad bit bigger?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Resize the window there. Okay, so just look at what our structure looks like here. Uh, so it looks like we've got a client folder. It's got a helpers.js, an index.html, and then the layout. Looks like we got loading, layout, header, footer. We've got a main.style, so it's using stylus. And then we've got one in the views folder. We've got home.coffee and home.html. And then we do have episodes and a router file. And then the server, we've got some fixtures and some publications. So let's maybe look at the collections and the fixtures first. Nice. So it's pretty basic. What's the fixtures look like? So it looks like she's expecting title, date, and description in order to make that work. So I think a lot of what we're going to be building is going to be like an admin kind of panel so that we can input this data right here. And then I'm wondering, if we look here, how's this thing powered? Does it work? Doesn't actually do anything. Yeah, it looks like it's just a bar. So my goal is to use simplecast.fm, and they've got a player already. And I did ask them early on, kind of if their player stretches. So I think we'll probably just replace that. Sorry, people are being goofy. We'll replace that bar with the simplecast bar once it's ready to go. So we'll get all that stuff ready for next week for the bar. But this week we'll just work on maybe wiring this up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing we'll have to do is actually hopefully import what we have now on Podbean. Like I'd like to spend some time maybe parsing that RSS feed and getting that data in here somehow, so that I don't want to move it over by hand necessarily, because we do have like 50 episodes. So, all right. See, do we have it running locally now? We got an app running.
So when you're looking at the collections,
Yeah.
it looked like or not Mongo, but Meteor was in the global scope. Oh no, it's
Uh,
Mongo. Mongo's in the global scope. Okay.
yeah. Yes, it definitely is. And so if you look at docs.meteor.com, Meteor is also in the global scope.
Okay.
So like if I do an inspect element here, there is, I can say, whoa, that's a lot of stuff going on in the console.
Yeah.
I can say meteor dot, right, and there's a bunch of stuff you
Nice.
can do here. And then, so you can call collection. That actually works still, but they did change it because they want it to be more obvious that you're actually creating a Mongo collection when you do it. So they've renamed the Meteor collection stuff is now Mongo collection.
Okay.
And then actually what we're doing right here is we're also assigning episodes into the global namespace as well.
Yeah, we're not
with the
using the var keyword.
Right. And so that allows us to do like episodes right here, like anywhere in our code.
Yeah.
We can do a find. It's going to return a cursor. We can do a fetch. And you can see like these are all the objects from the database that are being published. So another interesting thing is maybe to look at our publications.
And is this the standard practice with Meteor to to not like modularize the code, or like I'm just so at work we use AMD,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm so used to having to like explicitly set dependencies and name modules, which includes like views and collections and models and
Yeah, so I would say like when it comes to code that's going to be in both the front and back end, like this is probably uh, the way that it's usually handled. There's no requiring of dependencies or anything like that. Like if you do want to do that stuff, like we can maybe tinker with a package later, and you can set some of that stuff with the packaging system. But yeah, like a lot of this is just getting exposed into the global namespace.
Okay, cool. No, that's just good to know. I was just curious.
Yeah, no, awesome question. So right now, we'll probably have to scope this as well because looking at the design, she's purposely creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and I guess if anyone's curious, my designer's name is Amanda Saffer. So she's available for freelance work if you like her design stuff. So she's created purposely created 5 of these. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of these. One's active, and then we've got 5 more on the page. So we'll probably want to restrict our publication to only return that data down the road. Because once we get 50 in here, like we don't want the whole page to scroll. When they click older, it would actually then go fetch more. All right. So, but this is probably good enough for now. Uh, yeah. So we need a way to input. So normally I'd look at Houston, but I actually just heard about a new package. So we'll go to Atmosphere. Admin. Wow, they're all called admin. That is not super helpful. Oh, here's this. Oh, okay. So this is for a live server. That's probably not what we want. Maybe we'll look at Houston admin. We'll start playing with it. So grab that. We'll just do a meteor add Houston admin. And basically this is going to go out to the ISO build server. It's going to say, hey, I need a package called Houston:admin. Can you get it for me? It's going to download it. It actually goes to, so the way Meteor works, it goes to my home folder. There's a Meteor folder in the root there, and you can see there's a bunch of packages.
Mm-hmm.
You can see there's a bunch that I've got installed, and these are all being pulled in through dependencies and that kind of thing. And then what they do is they symlink this in. So if I connect to the local running version, put this over here. We don't need the one on the web there anymore. Pull up the inspector. You can go to the sources tab here, and you can kind of see everything that's involved in building your Meteor app too. So you can see like this is actually the template being put together. So you can see there's really nothing in this template. So if we go into home, the template home here, you can see like this is all the HTML, and it's all been wrapped up in space bars and similar to handlebars, and they apply the data context and then kind of fill in all the pieces into the HTML using the data context you give it. So, are you familiar with handlebars?
Yeah, and with mustache as well. What's the home.coffee file? So that's coffee script?
It is, and we may at some point. I'll probably switch to JavaScript. So I told my designer I liked CoffeeScript, but at this point I probably feel more comfortable in JavaScript. But anything we write, we'll probably do in JavaScript. We can look at that one. Client use home.coffee. But basically, it's just the helpers, the events, and then it looks like we've got a rendered function in there. And so she's returning some episodes here. Oh, I see. So she's limiting it to 5 right here. And then she's using a session to save off the Spotlight ID. So that's what's actually changing what's in the top bar there. So it's like when you click on this guy here, you notice it changes this top bar, and then it also changes this text right here.
Yeah.
So turn off my notifications, being a bad pair there. what's happening under the covers, you can see right here, touch start body. Well, that's dragging. That's not the one we want. Here we go. Click episode or touch end episode. Um, right here, she's trying to detect if you're dragging or not. And then if you're not dragging, then she prevents the click handler from running right
Hmm.
here with this line. And then she sets the spotlight ID to be the ID, which would be the, it's interesting, current target.id. Huh. I wonder.
Oh, so is that the HTML ID tag,
It. I
the
think it
attribute?
is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's find out. So I just put a debugger there, and we'll click this. We can look in the console. Target.id.
Hmm.
She's shoving. That's clever. That's clever. She's shoving the ID onto the element. So let's look at current target. Um,
Yeah, nice.
Not bad. But there is another way to get at it. So we can say, is it? I think it's, come on, trying to be clever.
So is that the model ID?
Yeah, yeah, that's the Mongo ID basically.
Okay.
So the other thing we can do here, like with an event handler, it gets an event and it also gets a template.
Yeah.
And so she might not have known this. So let's scoot past that code. Let it reload. And now we'll hit it again with my debugger, but this time we've got the T there. So E is our event, and then T is our template. And so we can actually say template.data. I see, she's not working with the data at all. Yeah. So I think the better way to handle this is to set the data context. So maybe we'll just spend some time tweaking this a little bit to be more meteor-ish, my opinion. Because I'm not a huge fan of having those IDs in the view. Maybe a better thing here too is we can start breaking these out into sub-templates as well.
Hmm.
So we got the hero, we got the play bar, and then here's the episodes. So she loops over the episodes, so she's already doing this a little bit. Um, and here's where she's putting in the ID.
Oh yeah.
And
Why
so
does it prefix with an underscore?
that's a Mongo thing. So if we look at,
Is it because it's a protected um, property or attribute?
I don't know, honestly, that is definitely a Mongo question. That was probably some kind of decision they made early on.
Okay.
But if we connect, so I use RoboMongo. It's an easy way
Robomongo.
to, yeah, easy way to kind of browse data here. Um, Oops, we want to go in the meteor here. That's in the wrong place. So here's like our episodes collection,
Yeah.
and you can see it's got that underscore ID here.
Oh,
That's totally a Mongo thing. So, but if you do come from like a Mongo background, the ID might look a little weird to you because it's just a string rather than an object ID.
hmm.
So normal Mongo, like if we imported data straight through Mongo, this ID field would be an object ID. And they do that because it has something to do with latency compensation and the way that they do. Um, they want to be able to generate just a string rather than an object ID, and so you're able to generate an ID string client side if you need to, and pass that on to the server and tell the server to create the object with that ID, and that way when it comes back, like that object will be in your mini Mongo, and when the server finishes and it comes back through a publication, it's already in your mini Mongo. So you're kind of getting that it looks really speedy even though the server hasn't finished.
Hmm.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what latency compensation is. Never heard a super great, thorough explanation on it, but all right. So to me, what we really want here is something like this. So with space bars, this little symbol here denotes that we want to render another template. So we can go over here to client views, and we'll just make, I usually start a partial with an underscore, so we'll just make an underscore episode.html. Template, name equals episode. Close our template. We can just steal all this stuff over here.
Yeah.
Save that. And now our data context should be set for this template. The only other thing that I think we have to do is this guy's probably going to have to be moved.
Which one?
The helper on the bottom left down here, I think
Mhm.
that's going to have to be moved to be part of the episode template events. So where are we? Yeah, we're setting the episode class right here. And that's what we're catching the click on. So because we moved it into a subtemplate, we've got to move the associated event code into to be owned by that template, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Um, I guess so. But where would we want to put that? Oh, I see. So you're making a. So views always have a paired JS file
Usually,
where
yeah.
you have the events or
Yeah,
the event handler.
yeah. So
Okay, that's
we
good to
do
know.
like template.episode.events. Um, I'm gonna, oops. And it's just a JavaScript object here, and we're just passing in. It's a string, so each event map is just a string here, and it says catch the click on any episode class or catch the touch end on any episode class. So this is probably similar to Backbone, the way this works. And then we'll just the undo the coffee script here. It's gonna be ugly actually. All right.
So
It's
she was saving.
she's got explicit returns in here, but you don't need them with CoffeeScript.
Huh. She was saving to the session, to the user session.
Yes, but it's maybe different than set the idea of a session for other frameworks or languages. Just convert this real quick, and we can walk through that as well.
Okay, cool.
Uh, some semicolons everywhere. Start to realize why I like CoffeeScript. Actually, you know what? Let's just scrap this whole thing. I'm just gonna keep it CoffeeScript. Sorry if that's gonna be a little weird for you. For you.
I can get used to it. That's fine.
Okay. It feels silly to like add all that cruft. All right, so it's just template dot episode dot events.
Okay, cool.
That should get it working. So we'll save this guy, save that guy, save this guy. We'll double check our functionality still works. Oops, we broke something. Can't type. Typed episode wrong. There we go. Yeah, I'm dyslexic. There we go. So we triggered that guy. Now let's see. What's our template look like? Template.data. Here we go. Boom. This is what we wanted, right? Like this makes more sense to me. And so we can call template.data.id, whoops, underscore ID.
Hmm.
Remember we're in Mongo land. And we get back what we want, right? And so that to me is a more meteor-ish way to work. And what we can do now, we can ditch this ID here, and the new ID would actually be template.data.underscore ID. We use new ID anywhere? Yeah, see, like I wouldn't even save this off. Like let's just do it right here and get rid of a line of code. Bugger. All right, so let's talk about session for a second. So if you haven't seen this either, like if you go to docs.meteor.com, you can just start typing on the page and it'll like search the docs, and then you can use the keyboard to kind of go up and down. So
Oh,
I can
that's
just,
cool. I hadn't seen that.
yeah. So I can just type session.set here, and we can see what it kind of looks like. But essentially, this is a reactive variable that we can save off and work with. And so, in particular, we're this is global to the user that is logged in, but this isn't saved in a cookie anywhere. So, like coming from Rails land, a session was saved off in a cookie and was
Yeah,
something that was always available to you. And I'm assuming like PHP was the same for you.
yeah.
Yeah. So like if you reload this page, so we click on episode 41, it's changed. When I come back and reload the page, like that session's actually been completely wiped out because Meteor's been restarted. And there are ways, like if you want to save that, there are packages. Uh, let's see. It's session amplify. Here, persistent session. This one is popping up. But it uses the amplify.js library to store everything into local storage. So then when you say session.set, it looks like it overrides it. Oh, there you go, set persistent or set temp to kind of do the two different versions there. Default method. So it looks like you can tell it a default method that you want it to use, whether it's persistent or temporary.
Hmm.
And there are good use cases for that too, right? Like, so in particular, the best use case I've seen of using persisted sessions would be like Fantasy Hub is an app that I helped build, and you build a fantasy team based on salary caps, and so like you get $50,000 salary cap, but you got to pick 8 players, and the best players cost you like 20,000, and the cheapest players cost you like 3,000. So it's like a puzzle. You want to try to pick the players that have the best games, and maybe are going to score the best for you because they're competing against a crappy team and they're going to score well, and maybe they're a little cheaper. So anyway. The idea is like this process of building your team takes like 10 or 15 minutes. And if the app were to somehow reload, like let's say I deploy a new version and the hot code push forces a reload, that's going to be bad for the user experience. So we want to actually just store each of those button clicks that they've selected someone into the draft, or they've drafted someone. Essentially, we save that off into that ID off into the session, and that goes to the local storage. And that way, if they reload, like it's just going to all come back out of local storage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we don't need it, but that's just kind of like high-level overview of session. And the other thing I would say is because we move this to a sub-template, we do need to use session here. But if this data wasn't being used outside of the template that we just created, then you could use reactive var is another option as well. So it works just like session, but it's scoped to the template, and it's not global anymore. So the thing you have to worry about with like the spotlight ID being set is that maybe it doesn't matter here, but if you forget to unset the spotlight ID for some reason, then you might get weird behavior. So can't think of a great use case for it right now, but
So
all right.
session is global and reactive var is only scoped to the template?
Yeah, and they're actually gonna like in the next version that they release, it'll be even easier to get the reactive vars set up for each template. So they're revamping all that.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So we did refactor that a little bit. Let's see if there's any other oddities here. So we got the date. We got the title. Oh, okay. So the description is truncated. That's interesting. Is there anything else in there? Nope, that's about it right now. All right. Let's look at our helpers. So this is maybe another interesting thing here is this with featured. She's setting the context for this part of the template to be one particular episode, and then she's powering it off this session.get spotlight ID. So it's going to rerun anytime this session.set happens. This code right here is going to rerun, and that's what sets the featured episode, so to speak, right here. So this is probably worth putting into its own template as well. Any event on that? Not right now. So we'll do like a client views featured HTML template name equals featured. Oh, that's interesting. That's just the. Is that just the bar?
Span ID episode title, hold left title.
Where's
Oh, it might be. Or
where's that part? Okay, we'll have to keep looking. I would think that would all be part of featured. Latest episode. Oh, here you go. Featured area. Oh, she did make a. Okay. So this is more of the play bar, right?
mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna undo that. deal with that later because we're gonna use something else to run that. So we can look at this featured area. I'm just curious what that looks like. Clients, views. Does she have multiple templates in here? Maybe she does. I'm less of a fan of multiple templates uh, in one HTML file. So we'll do views. We'll just move this featured. Yeah. So .html and then featured episode. Here we'll just change the reference to it. I think it just reads a little cleaner. All right. I ever installed admin, did I? This should be fun too, because we're going to import this bar up here, but then we're going to have to catch this click and then tell it to play. That'll be fun. I don't know if that's an iframe or what, but. All right. So we've got Houston installed. So if you go into the Meteor folder, there's a couple files in there that are interesting. One of them is packages, and that tells us all the packages we have installed. We can see we're relying on like Stylus, Bootstrap 3, Font Awesome, Iron Router. This actually hasn't been updated in a while. Collection helpers, user accounts. But the interesting thing is we never explicitly relied on accounts password. Oops, your ad. So I'd prefer to put that in there so it's a little more obvious that's what we're relying on. But it looks like maybe Houston brings that along, so we'll just create an account here. It's not forbidden. That's not awesome.
Even though it's 0 config.
Yeah. I don't know. Like maybe we shouldn't rely on this. Maybe we should just build our own thing. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice if we can get this working, I think, but if not, then we're going to have to build it.
There we go. Customizing Houston. You know where this might be coming from actually is she may have something in here
Hmm.
for setting up user accounts package, or maybe their default is actually what's happening to us. I'm guessing it's the default. So let's go look at user accounts. Yeah, here we go. I'm just going to grab this here. Where do they suggest? Oh, just in lib. I see. Okay. So there's special folders, by the way. I didn't really explain that very well, but client, lib, public, and server. These are all special folders. So um, we're lib server only goes to server, client only goes to the client, and then anything else goes to kind of both spots. Public is where you house images and stuff. It just serves those up. But then, like lib will go to both environments, but it'll actually load first. So if we do like lib um, user accounts config.js, just paste this sucker in. For big client account creation, false. See if that fixes us.
So without that, you can't create user accounts.
Right. Yeah, that's an option. Again, this is actually coming from Meteor accounts password. It's part of their config here. So you can
Oh, I see.
forbid client account creation. We can restrict creation by email domain. That's actually kind of fun. Maybe we could do that. Of course, I use Gmail everywhere, so I don't know. Maybe that's not so fun. Yeah, okay. Oops, we broke something. I think because I cargo culted all that code. We don't need these hooks. We don't need this text. We can leave it, I guess.
What are the hooks for?
Um, looks like they were for like on logout and on submit.
Oh, I see. So like run these other functions,
Yeah,
which probably don't exist.
yeah, they were not real functions. Unknown key and field lowercase username.
Was that the terminal that you were looking at just now?
Yeah, this is the Meteor tool itself running.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so these functions aren't defined, and then there's some unknown key.
Yeah, I think this is an error being thrown at us because of bad matchers. Actually, the thing we might want to do here is just go ahead and update.
Is that a global update? Like, does it
Yeah,
update all your packages?
yeah, you can see. So, like, I've got it here in the command line. We went from 1.0 to 1.0.3.1.
Yeah.
So you can see like all this stuff up here is all like core Meteor stuff.
Yeah.
And then down here was all the stuff that got updated that wasn't core Meteor.
Okay.
So it's kind of broken up into two things there. Um, so we got a lot of the. See, yeah, I don't think we need iron layout anymore. I'm pretty sure that's just a dependency. Uh, packages. It'll work now. Oops. Start it back up. Now we're not dying. 2 weeks up. Oh, it still says sign up forbidden.
Hmm.
That is not awesome. All right.
Did the config get overridden?
I don't think so. I mean,
Like by the update? Or
you can grep for forbid. That's too much. Too much. Oh, yeah. There's the UA config we made.
oh yeah, I see it.
Nothing client. Nothing in server. Just what we put in lib there ourselves. Huh. Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's so much stuff in here. This is all from the core package, but that looks okay. I'm missing something. Collections. Nothing. Huh. Yeah, I really don't know what's causing that forbidden message.
Wasn't there like a URL like in the config for Houston? Wasn't there like you had to point it somewhere? Was one of the things it said?
Uh,
This route path from Houston or of Houston from admin.
no, that seems to be working though. Yeah,
Okay.
let's look over it again. Uh, Once installed, navigate to admin to set up your admin account. You can either create a new user to act as Houston's admin or upgrade an existing user into an admin. Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe this is more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah. So does Meteor come with like a default? I guess it doesn't come with like a default admin page. For
No.
okay.
By default, it comes with insecure and auto publish, which is would allow you to play in the console with all the data. But
Oh, okay.
that's been removed from this app. Let's see. So I was just talking to someone yesterday about this exact problem.
Is this the Slack for?
I have many Slacks. Which Slack are you asking about?
Telescope? Is that the one for the book? Um, Discover Meteor, right?
No, this is more for, I mean, so microscope is what they build in the book, but they telescope is like the full-fledged version, so that's what Crater runs on. So this is all people that help work on Crater.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So to define an @sign-in route. I think we've got to make our own sign-in page, which kind of sucks. Client views. No, we want lib router.
Is this the main router?
Yeah, do like sign in path would be sign in. Your podcast starting in a half hour. Are you good to keep going, or do you need to stop at 3?
No, I need to stop at 3:15, but
Okay,
yeah,
we can do
we
that.
cool.
Right, so we'll just make a sign-in template, and I think all we need to do is put AT form here, maybe. Docs in just a second.
Is that like a default form template or?
Yeah, it comes from user accounts itself. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So let's see if we can register. Yes, we registered just fine. So now we're logged in. All right. So I'm still not impressed with the user accounts. I feel like it's still missing some stuff, but we'll keep going with it for a little bit. Um, all right. So we're signed in. So now maybe we'll call it or what the path will be, but we need to make something where we can like add an episode essentially, and it'll just be a form. Um,
It only has three fields, right? The name, the description, the length.
yeah, right now, and then in the next session we'll probably add like a simple cast FM URL or something, so then it can pull over that all that stuff that we need from Simplecast.
So are you gonna upload all your past episodes to Simplecast?
Yeah, they've got a tool that'll actually do it for me, so I'll probably
Nice.
work on that this weekend. And then the other thing that we need to do is like they keep track of your metrics for you, which is one of the reasons why I kind of like using them. And they'll generate an RSS feed for us as well.
Oh, cool.
Um, that's iTunes compliant. I mean, we could do all that stuff ourselves, but they do it. Um, and I feel like they would have better statistics than I could maybe build out of the
Hmm.
gate. We could always change it later, I guess. Um, so we'll call it like add episode. I don't know. Maybe that's a lame name, but we'll start there. Path episode and maybe new makes more sense.
So that path that you have, episode new,
Yeah.
is that so? Is it gonna look in the views folder for that template, and then an action uh, called new, or is it like a new template inside the episode folder of the views folder?
Yeah, I would probably like logically group them together, but templates are just pushed
Hmm.
onto the I guess the global namespace. So it's just gonna look for a template named new episode. It doesn't like care about the pathing at all. Does that make sense? Like everything that is in a Meteor app just kind of gets glommed onto the application.
Okay. So the path name gets converted then?
Yeah,
Um,
the path name is really just this path up here, like your URL path.
okay.
I don't think I can make that any bigger. Sorry.
Is
Um,
that episode dash new?
it's
Or
episode slash new. It's just like what we see here in the code.
okay, yeah, I guess my question is like what where is like the controller that handles that you know what you see or what template gets
This
and
is it. Iron Router is your controller, so to speak. Your router is your controller here. So I would say by default, like Meteor's missing its controller. It's more of like an MV stack. um, and so I think their idea was that templates would kind of be your gatekeeper, like your template helpers. Um,
okay.
but
So
in reality, like everyone wants URLs, and like the web is shareable, so you need URLs, and that's
yeah.
where Iron Router steps in. All right. So we'll do client views. Uh, new episode. I'm gonna try to name them similar.
Okay, and when you define the template inside of the HTML, that's where you'll
That,
say that its name is
mhm. Yeah, the file names are relevant. That's more for humans to consume. Um, I've seen a few jerkwads who don't name things the same, and that's always been very confusing. Like you'll see there's a file called register underscore user, and like the template name inside of it is like sign up user or something like that. That
yeah.
one's maybe not so bad because it's obvious what register user does, but man, there's seen some heinous stuff before.
My girlfriend is hey babe.
Can I say hi?
Yes. You can say hi.
Who you chatting with?
I am pairing with Josh
Oh,
and doing meteor
hey!
stuff,
That's so cool.
and he's
Hey there.
recording.
Uh-oh.
you're,
Oh, no.
you're live on the internet.
Yeah, I'm on the internet. Oh, this is so awesome. Ah,
My better half coming home.
that's true. That's true.
Oh, is it
Okay,
like all cold and snowy there too, or?
Oh,
yes.
yeah, we had to get a guy with a bobcat to come and help us dig out our parking lot.
Oh wow.
Snowbanks are much taller than either of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not saying much. We're pretty short, but
Yeah, but like if the snow was any heavier, like we couldn't get it up there. You know what I mean? Like it just,
yeah. How high would you say? Like 7 feet, 8 feet?
yeah, something like that. You're like
Oh
throwing,
my goodness.
then it crumbles down anyhow, and you're like, don't care.
Yeah, we usually don't get that much snow in Boston. I mean, like we might get like a storm that's like a foot here or there. We'll have like
I've never had a
3 or 4 of those like a winter.
No,
But this
get
was
like
like,
6 inches.
well, that's my recollection.
Fine.
But we had like 4 feet in a week and a half or 2 weeks, so it's been kind of crazy.
Yeah. And there's more coming, right? Like Saturday, we're supposed to get a storm.
Yeah,
What? Is there more coming?
yeah, like a foot this weekend, I think,
On Sunday, I bet. Is it on Sunday?
maybe.
Yeah.
I've never.
I'm in Cincy, so you'll get it like probably half a day to a day after me.
It's crazy. Well, I hope Cincinnati is used to dealing with snow.
No, Cincinnati is.
We've got like 8 inches, and like that stopped everything for a couple of days. But then like none of the kids have gone to school. Like the roads are clear, but it's like every morning it's been like -5, -10 degrees. So the kids have been off all week just because it's apparently too cold to go to school.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Never even heard of that.
Okay.
So
You got the template name that matches what you got in the route. Cool.
we're just kind of building what we want the form to look like. Be like input type equals text.
Do you find that you use labels much?
Actually, just show you real quick. Text field. What do we want? We want title. So this is simple form, and you can get similar things if you use like auto form. But this one actually builds the form for you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we just told it we wanted a title, so it gives you the label, and it gives you the
Oh,
input, and everything's matched up. Uh, so we can just kind of replicate this. So we need the so we have episodes. So we got title, date, and description. So let's do date. I think we can tell it type equals date, and so you can get like a special text field that's set up for date input.
Oh, that's cool. So it'll have like a date picker?
Yeah, so HTML5 has this notion of a date picker now. Yeah, you can see it right there.
Oh, cool.
It just gives you like, I think this is a localized format. So like because I'm in the U.S., it's going to be month, month, day, day, year, year. But then like if you look over here, there's actually a drop down, and so this is an HTML5 date picker.
I'm so used to having to use like the jQuery one, or I was just looking at the Angular date picker as part of the UI Bootstrap library, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I like just relying on HTML5. And the other nice thing is too, like it'll do a little bit of validation here too. Like we can tell it required true, and it'll put the required element on there. And then I guess the last thing we want to do is get a submit button. Submit button. I don't know why when I wrote this I used underscores, which is not meteor-ish. I should change that. Submit button equals and episode.
Should it be a camel case? Or?
Yeah. Camel case would be more meteor-ish, so to speak.
Oh, nice. I see that. That's pretty sweet. Is that part of Blaze?
No, that's my own package. It's called.
What did you call it? Was it Simple?
Simple form.
Cool.
And again, there's an alternative to that called autoform. But you know the problem I have with autoform is I don't really like having to define my. Like it's interesting because they force you to define your schema, like in your collection, and then they do some validation as well, which is interesting. But then, you know, you've got to. I don't know. Like I like the flexibility of just kind of like not defining my schema, and as I'm building, like let it naturally grow. So, kind of the idea there. But yeah, just Josh Owens : simple form.
Cool.
Kind of get the idea. But yeah, it's just building like semantic, bootstrap friendly fields. So it's putting the class form control. So I don't know. It would be a worthy effort to go back and remove the bootstrap and like make that configurable, like what gets applied. But yeah, that's kind of the idea behind it. And then
in terms of the class names that get applied?
Yeah. Because I don't like that it's just scoped to Bootstrap right now. Tends to be what I use, but like the Meteor community is all over the board in terms of design kind of frameworks that they use. So we'll make a new episode JS here. It's so manic. Template dot so dot events. So we'll just catch the submission of the form, and we get the event, and the template gets passed along to us. And sort of debugger here.
Yeah, this is so reminiscent, that piece of the backbone event hash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like spot on. I was talking about it earlier. Meteor came with Backbone early on as part of the client piece, so
Really? Oh.
I think that's maybe why, like as they started to grow their own front end, that's where that came from. But so if we just here new podcast, pick a date, pick today, testing. 1, 2, 3. Now, when we trigger this event, we get an event.target, which is the form. And the thing I like about Simple Form is I added this process form. Process form method, and it gives you back an object that has been created. And so we can just shove that straight into what do you call it? Straight into Mongo. And so I wanted something that would easily work with the Mongo. So you just do something like data equals simple form, process form, e.target. You do something like episodes.insert data, and that'll get you your episode.
Nice.
So we'll put a pin in it right here, but we'll see if it works.
That's fine.
Oops, I forgot to tell it to prevent default e.prevent default. So forms by default kind of read.
Yeah, they reload the page, right?
Yeah. With all the data in the URL there. Tries to do a post basically. Testing. Come on. 20 testing. There we go. Now when I do, actually see it failed because we don't have permissions. So that's what we can work on next time.
Oh, so this admin user can't write to Mongo?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Actually, we're not even an admin user. We're just a user, but we'll probably want to put permissions on it and get that all wired up as well.
Cool. That'll be cool to learn about.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. All right, man. Well, I'll hit you up on email and we'll figure out another time to pick this up and keep working on it.
Sounds great. Yeah, I'm basically at home just interviewing like crazy, and so I'm pretty flexible.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
All
awesome.
right.
Well, thanks for your time. This was really cool. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
About how to do best stuff.
Yeah, thanks for being my second set of eyes.
Yeah, no worries.
All right.